Hey guys, welcome to another James Bond retrospective. I am Mark Bridge and I'm here with Zach Worsner.
Hello there.
So, it's been a while since we did one of these bad boys, haven't we?
It's been a little while. It's been a little while, but we're back.
Lots of stuff has happened, both in film world, in the James Bond world, and in the real world. I've, especially on a personal level, I've done a few projects and I just wanted it just always like irked me that we'd never finished James Bond retrospective. Like, damn it, we need to go back and finish this thing. And then the time
Unfinished
is now.
business.
Yeah, right. And the time is now. And today's film is A View to a Kill, which is Roger Moore's final James Bond movie.
Yeah, I think it's not to give away the game, but I think it's fitting that we ended the first phase of this podcast with Octopussy,
Yeah.
which should have been Roger Moore's last outing
Right,
because it
right.
was such a great send off and he was still in it. And this is kind of like Death Wish 5 or you know or Diamonds Are Forever, which is a case of you should have hung it up. Should have hung it up already. That being said, I think there's a lot of redeemable stuff in this movie that we'll get to.
Yeah.
But overall, there's just that prevailing sense of this is I feel like this movie felt old even in 1985.
Right, right. So, okay, before we get to that, I wanted to do this. Since we've been out for a long time, a couple of news around the James Bond world have developed. For one, Daniel Craig's Bond film have completely wrapped up. I think the last recording we did either Spectre was out or I was about to be out. I'm not sure, but his he's completed his set of films. The search for a new Bond is on the way, and a new company pretty much purchased the Bond franchise. Amazon purchased it from they bought MGM, so I guess along with MGM came the rights with Bond. And then Bezos did the move where it's like, listen, man, I want to be able to control this thing. So the Broccoli's, you're out. So they paid Barbara and Michael G. Wilson a shit ton of money
I think
to
it's literally $1 billion.
yeah, to skedaddle so that they can have complete creative control over the franchise. Because I guess they were opposed to doing spin-offs and television shows. They wanted to keep it, just like a theatrical event release, while Amazon wanted to maximize their profits with this Bond franchise, which considering what happened with Star Wars, even though I'm in love with most of the stuff that came out of the Star Wars camp, some of them okay, but for the most part, I'm locked in. But you can't dispute the fact that since Star Wars has been
The product
multiple,
is definitely diluted.
yeah, right. So could that happen with the Bond franchise? We don't know. That is definitely a fear. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, from what I heard, the story was that Kathleen Kennedy, not Kathleen Kennedy, Barbara Broccoli,
yeah.
excuse me, um, love Kathleen Kennedy, no shade,
No shade at
love
all.
Barbara Broccoli. That Barbara Broccoli took particular umbrage with the word content
Right, right, right.
of like, we need more James Bond content. And he's like, no, we make movies, we make art. So I think for better or worse, probably both,
Yeah,
we're going to see
yeah.
an influx of James Bond content. We're going to see young James Bond. We're going to see uh, James Bond the Money Penny Chronicles and
Exactly. They're probably gonna have like
Inside
a
Q's. We're gonna have a 12 episode miniseries about Q inventing a laser watch.
or maybe a series about a different double O. You know what I mean? Like leave the 007 for the movies, but like a 005 or a 003 for the television.
Yeah, they'll open up a wing of a theme park about it. The world of 007.
And then the other development is that they actually have a director, Denis Villeneuve, who will be the next Bond director. Now he's best known for the Blade Runner 2049, the Dune movies, which he's doing Dune Messiah. Well, it's actually Dune Part 3. It's not Dune Messiah. It's called Dune Part 3, which is going to be his next movie coming out next year. So if we're going by that timeline, I think the earliest we'll probably get a new Bond movie is 2028. So yeah, we have a director which is not Christopher Nolan. And
Thank goodness.
but that's the funny thing is though, Christopher Nolan, like Sam Mendes, Denis Villeneuve, all kind of channel Christopher Nolan esque style of directing and set pieces in their movies. So it's like the definition of we got a Christopher Nolan at home. We don't need to buy him right here. You know what I mean? It's like
I mean, I guess, but I put Denis on a different level from those two, from Sam and Chris.
gotcha.
But that's just me.
I mean, listen, he's a amazing filmmaker, so you can't go wrong with tapping him to be the next Bond filmmaker. I'm sure he's gonna do some amazing things with the project, and it's just I'm super interested to see what kind of Bond era we're going to be in, where you can. I've always noted that if you watch a James Bond movie from Connery on up, you can tell the kind of era of entertainment we're in based on the style that they choose at that moment. You know what I mean? Like for instance, which one was that was kind of the take on blaxploitation? It was a Roger Moore movie, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Live and Let Die.
Yeah, right. And then the Star Wars craze with Moonraker.
Yeah, and we'll see, the '80s Silicon Valley surge with
Right.
with this one.
Right, and then of course the Bourne Identity, Batman Begins flavor with the Daniel Craig movies, which some people love, some people hate, but that was the style that was in. So like, what style? What are we in now? What are the era? Because I mean, superheroes, we don't know. People are saying it's dying. Some people are saying no, bad superhero movies are dying. So
Yeah, I mean, Superman would like a word.
right? So it's like, are we going to all of a sudden make Bond more of a superhero now? Time will tell on that. But yeah, I'm super interested in seeing what Denis does, and what kind of Bond movie and who they choose as Bond. Right? So many names are being thrown out as a potential Bond. From what was his name? Who was in Game of Thrones? One of the brothers, the Stark brothers.
Kit Harington.
No, the other one.
Sean Bean.
No, not the other one. Hold on, and he was also in Eternals as well as Kit Harington.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah. And then another guy from Bridgerton, Jean Rene something.
Reggae Jean Page.
Yes, and then of course Henry Cavill's name is thrown in every goddamn thing. But
Henry's my ride or die. I he was born for Bond. I feel like maybe he's too old now.
I mean,
I do want a younger Bond.
Do we though?
Is he 40 yet? Is he 40 yet?
He probably is Henry Cavill. He is 42. Oof.
Okay.
I mean, listen. Do we have to go as a young Bond? Like, why not? and then just
I mean,
do three Bond movies. Like he doesn't have to do seven like Roger did. What Roger did seven, right? Or
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
This is number 7. I
Um,
mean,
and,
I'd say that if we're entering the the content mill era of Bond, you
yeah.
know, the streaming content mill era of Bond, I think they want someone who can do it for at least 10 years.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But then the way how like how the length, the productions of these movies and how long they take, you can do. I don't see them doing more than 3 films in 10 years. You know what I mean? So you could sign him up for a 3 picture deal. Especially like if you pass a 3 picture deal, now you have to spend, pay him a lot more money, which is kind of the issue that they went in with Daniel Craig a little bit. It's like the budgets of these things ballooned because they had to pay him. These actors, charge a lot more money than these actors back in the days did. You know what I mean? Especially the
Yeah.
fact that they're
Well,
doing a lot more of their own stunts and stuff like that.
yeah, I mean that was the least of the issues with budget overrun on, let's say, Spectre onward.
Right.
But we'll get to those.
Yeah.
But just, COVID and all that
Exactly.
craziness,
Exactly. Yeah.
I
For sure. For
really
sure.
hit them in the wallet.
Right, so that was sort of like catching up on Bond news, and now we can rewind back into time to 1985, May 24th, 1985 to be exact. Well, in the United Kingdom, it came out on June 13th, which is strange. You would think that it would come out in the UK first. I think they eventually started doing that, right? Where UK got it first, and then United States got it second. Uh,
I could see them maybe because this is one of the very few America centric Bond
right, right,
movies.
right.
Maybe they wanted
Exactly,
a little advance here. Or
exactly.
just whatever else was opening at the box office might have had them adjust the schedule a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, May 24th, 1985, and this is the it's actually this year is what, the 30th? No, my math is wrong. It's the 30th, right? The
Yeah, yeah.
anniversary.
No,
Yeah,
40th.
40th. Yes,
40th
40th
anniversary.
anniversary of this movie coming out.
I
Wow.
don't see why we don't have parades in the street over 40 years of A View to a Kill. At least the song.
Right. I was speaking of the song, Duran Duran, "View to a Kill." I actually love that song. It's one of the my top songs because it sounds so 80s and it had that really like 80s sound. I dug
Oh
it. I
yeah,
dug
I
it.
mean it's a straight up Duran 80s, MTV era, and
Yeah.
if I remember right, this is probably the first one that had like an MTV music video.
Ooh. Now I got a
Um,
question.
I, yeah.
Duran Duran. They came out. That group came out after Barbarella, right?
After what?
Barbarella.
Yeah,
Yeah, because there was a
yeah. Barbarella was like the '60s.
yeah. So the character, did they name themselves after that character from that movie?
I don't know.
Maybe.
That's a good question.
Oh,
Yeah, let's see. It says here they named their band after Dr. Duran Duran
there we go.
from Barbarella. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
After it was broadcast on TV, they were like, "Oh, this is our band name."
So yeah, dope
That's funny. I
song.
never even thought of that.
Yep. This is John Glenn's second to last Bond film that he'll direct. He directed his last movie with Timothy Dalton, um, Living Daylights, which is our next movie. This is, as we mentioned at the top of the podcast, this is Roger Moore's last
Well,
stint as
he would
Bond.
also he would also do License to Kill. He did both of them.
Did he? Hold on, let
Both
me
of
see.
Timothy Dalton's. John Glenn.
Did I read that wrong? Hold on.
Yeah, John Glenn.
Oh
License
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
to
You're
Kill,
right.
Living Daylights, Speed to a Kill, Octopussy, For Your
Yeah,
Eyes Only, Moonraker,
yeah,
Spy
you're
Who
right.
Loved Me.
You are right.
And he was
License to Kill.
editor and second unit director on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Ah, but yeah. So, John Glenn as director. John Barry did the music, and I like his interpretation of the main theme throughout the movie. Just like the orchestral version of A View to a Kill. It's like every time it played, I was like, oh, it sounds so fucking epic, man. I loved it.
Yeah, I'd say the score is definitely one of the highlights of this one. I think previous otherwise great Roger Moore ones have had kind of schizo scores. The Spy Who Loved Me, top three Bond movie, but the score is just drowning in disco.
Yeah, yeah,
That I
yeah.
mean that Bond 77 is cute, but you can't watch the movie and be like, the same with For Your Eyes Only
Mm-hmm.
is like the score is so 80s.
Mm,
Or the movie itself is like relatively by Bond standards, by Roger Moore Bond standards,
right,
grounded and realistic. But every time there's an action scene, the crazy 80s dance music just is overwhelming.
right.
And this one, I love that main like action theme. That sounds a lot like on Her Majesty's Secret Service, that cue,
Right, right.
um, with like the admittedly a little cheesy, but like I like it. Guitars in the background over the traditional orchestral style. Like
Yeah.
John Barry, I think this is his maybe not his like all time crown jewel or anything, but just a great score, a great Bond score.
Like I think my favorite um uh scene that he scored was a scene where he was where Bond was bringing down Tony Roberts character. Is that her name, right? Yeah, Tony Roberts'
Yeah.
character. Stacy. And
Hmm.
she's coming down the ladder, and then you just hear like the theme, the main theme, the A View to a Kill theme, and it's like, oh my god, I just got chills in that scene. It's like, ooh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, they should have let him score more of it because then they ruined the opening with the weird Beach Boys cover.
Beach Boys. I was like, I was like,
I'm
what the
just
hell
like,
was
damn it.
that? It's like that was so weird, right?
It just reeks of a producer going, "Hey, it'd be funny."
Yeah, right. It's like it's part of the, and this is my thing while watching some of these movies, right? And because it was such a long time since I've seen a Bond movie, since we did the whole thing, um, I kept having to remind myself I have to watch it with the lens of the time period in which this thing was made, right? Like a lot of these things are so dated now and so corny and not funny, and it's like even like when Max Zorin and Mayday were in the blip, and Mayday's like, "Oh, look at that view," and Max is like, "To a kill." I was like, "Oh my god, are you kidding me?"
Yeah, no, I think that was considered shitty even back then. Because there's so much this because this is a pretty dark movie. Like this is the James Bond movie where like almost everybody in the whole movie dies.
Exactly. I was like,
Like
"Holy shit!"
literally almost every character in the movie dies.
Right?
Um, and like to the point where even Roger Moore like kind of was like, I should have quit because this it doesn't feel that much like Bond to me anymore.
Yeah.
Um, like he complained in particular about the scene where Max is gunning down all of his workers, which
Oh yeah, that
feels
was.
like
Whew.
Donald Trump's wet dream.
Right? It was
Not to
like.
get political or anything, zing, I got him. But imagine getting people to do your work and then getting to kill them afterwards.
Yeah, this is
Um,
fucking insane. Uh,
but Roger Moore was like, "Yeah, I didn't like that. We're supposed to be at least mostly family friendly."
yeah, yeah. So, jumping to the cast, we have obviously Roger Moore being his last movie. We have Tanya Roberts as Stacey Sutton. Now, I knew Tanya Roberts. Well, she's famous for being Charlie's Angels for that one season, the first season, I believe. But how I knew her is there used to be a show on, I think it was Cinemax, called Hotline, and she was like the host where she's like a radio talk show host, and people call in to tell their deepest sexual secrets. So she was like
Is this like a Skinamax show?
yeah, pretty much. So that was my first introduction to her. I was like, ooh, who's
Yeah, I
this,
think she
right?
was in a bunch of those in like the '90s, late '80s.
Yeah, I think she was also in Beastmaster. I've seen that movie like maybe one time, but I don't remember her character exactly. I don't even remember that movie entirely. So, because I've seen that
Oh
movie
yeah,
like decades ago. So yeah, Tanya Roberts, she's the Bond girl in this movie, and Grace Jones as Mayday. Now, Grace Jones I know because she's Jamaican and she's a popular icon in the fashion world. So, and she was also in Conan the Barbarian, which is a dope movie, even though it's pales in comparison to no Conan the Destroyer. Sorry, not Barbarian. I like Conan the Destroyer, but it pales in comparison with the original Conan the Barbarian. But Grace Jones was in the second movie. Um, and then we have Christopher Walken. Walken. I'm not gonna try to do that accent at all. As the main antagonist, Max Zorin, who is basically like a uh, uh, business tycoon who I guess used to work for the KGB.
yeah, and
And
then strikes out on his own with his
yeah,
Nazi daddy.
yeah, and then of course returning is Desmond Llewellyn as Q, and Lois Maxwell as Miss Moneypenny. Um,
Yeah,
which she is, she was also looking up there as well.
yeah,
No
she
shade.
looks like a little, uh, yeah, she looks like an old lady in this one.
Yeah, did she come
Which is
back from?
fine because Roger Moore looks like an old man.
Exactly. Was she in? I mean, just to jumping ahead a little bit, was she in Living Daylight? Because
No,
I've only
no, this is her last
okay.
one.
That's the last one as well. Okay, all right.
Yeah, they've got a new Money Penny for Timothy, except I think she's only in that one. She's not in License to Kill.
Got you, got you. Um, yeah, and there was a character that shows up in this one, and the way how Bond interacted with her, I was like, wait, did I miss something? Was she in another Bond movie? She played the KGB spy.
Yeah,
Who
so apparently the story with that, maybe if you know or not, was that she was supposed to be Anya Amasova, the character from The Spy Who Loved Me.
Oh, okay,
Um, and it'd be a nice little reunion for them, uh,
got you.
and a nod to like, the high point
Right.
of Roger's tenure. But either she couldn't do it, or didn't want to do it, or asked for too much money, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And so they just made a kind of a new character.
yeah. Because she like came out of nowhere, and I was like, well, at first I saw her, I was like, wait, is she supposed to be Stacy, but like she cut her hair or something like that? And I was like, no, that can't be her. And then the way how you just interacting with her, I was like, wait a second, oh, okay, maybe she appeared in the other movies, but I don't remember. And it was like, whatever.
Yeah,
All right,
she's kind of. I think she's like the only secondary character, like the only allied character that Bond has who doesn't die in the movie.
yeah, and she had a pretty small role. Like she shows up, she tries to steal the tapes from Bond after their love sesh, and he does a switcheroo and basically gives her like
Spa
wrong.
music.
Yeah, and then after that, you never see her character again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then apparently, looking at the Wikipedia, Dolph Lundgren was in this movie, but I don't remember his
Yep.
character.
Yep. He's in the scene where General Gogol kind of confronts Max, and uh, when Mayday lifts
Oh,
uh, one of Gogol's guys into the air and throws him around, um, Dolph plays one
yeah.
of
Oh, so you
Gogol's
know what it
guys.
is? I did get up for a second in that scene and came
I mean,
back
he
and
has
just
no
saw.
lines.
Yeah, I just saw when Grace Jones was like at the stairs, foot of the stairs, just like looking all posing and shit. I was like, okay, but
Yeah,
yeah, so
he's
I missed that.
yeah, he's got no lines. He gets like one close. He has like literally 1.5 seconds worth of screen time, so it's okay if you missed him.
Yeah, yeah. Now, did you successfully spot Maud Adams' cameo? Because I did watch the documentary where she,
I don't think she's even there.
yeah, she said she came to set, and she was just trying to see what was on, and meeting old friends again, and then she was also in the background of one of the scenes. But she said, "Hey, could you spot my character?" But I guess I don't. As you said, you don't think she's
Yeah,
there.
I've seen YouTube sleuths try to find her, and I don't think anyone's ever been able to actually find her.
Right, right. All right, so let's talk a little bit a bit about the plot. So the plot of this movie is that Max essentially wants to corner the market on the microchip business, and since Silicon Valley is the mecca of chips, I mean, are they still now? I don't know.
I have no idea.
He basically wants to pull a Lex Luthor and sink um, part of California into the bottom of the ocean so he can control the production of these microchips. Um,
Goldfinger, but with computers.
so yeah, and that's our our amazing plot to this movie.
Well, it is Goldfinger with right down to the killing the guy who doesn't want to do the deal.
Oh right, right. It's
It's
like
like, yeah, Bond has done that a few times. Like, I mean, Moonraker is just like Spy Who Loved Me over again.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, this is kind of Goldfinger over again, at least in that way.
And then the thing that always gets me about these Bond movies is that the villains, and I guess that became a running gag even with spoof films, is that you have so many opportunities to kill Bond. Like you have a gun to shoot him. Why are you putting him in the car to push the car? Why are you? What was the other thing? Knocking him out and set the building on fire. Like just shoot the
Right.
man. Like Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, dude.
I mean, that's
Um,
just classic. It's dumb, but at the same time, I wouldn't have it any other way.
right. um, but yeah, it's a very cheesy plot. I don't know. I mean, the movie did well, box office wise. I guess people, their state of mind at the time was like, yeah, cool adventure bonds and stuff like that. But like rewatching it with these sets of eyes, like you cannot help but just notice how uh, dated the film is in terms of not only plot but also some of the fight sequences. Even though
Yeah,
I
it's
was
very work. Continue. Sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
It's just a lot of it is very workmanlike. There's a handful of like notable action beats here and there, and I actually think the fire in City Hall is really well done. I think that whole
Yeah,
sequence
that
is
was good.
great.
That was good,
Um,
and I
and
love the
the
car
subsequent
chase.
chase.
Yeah, the car chase sequence in France was dope. Um,
Yeah,
because
that too. I mean, the car getting ripped in half
yeah,
twice.
I mean,
Beautiful.
it basically did the thing that Born Identity wanted to do but couldn't do because I guess they were under, they couldn't drive a certain amount of, for the speed limit for those scenes, so they had to do like a lot of camera trickery to um, sell the fact that these cars are going pretty fast. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
for the time, 1985, that was a dope stunt.
yeah, and there's a couple of shots on the Golden Gate Bridge that I'm like, I can't imagine they actually shot on the Golden Gate Bridge, but I cannot see like maybe if I paused it and went through frame by frame, I would see that it's a matte painting or whatever. But there's a handful of shots during that where I'm just like, I think they did it for real.
So okay, there's a couple of things they did. They used the Fujifilm blip to shoot like the sort of wide shots, far shots of the blip coming. That's why when you saw the Zoran Industries logo on the blip, it has the same colors as Fujifilm. So like when it'll look like when it's at a far distance, even though it says Fujifilm in the long shots, it has the same colors, so you think it still says Zoran. But for the very
Ah.
extreme close up as the bridge at the top, they actually built that. They built the sort of top of the um, Golden Gate Bridge to have that action sequence take place. So it's like, I guess Lord of the Rings would eventually do that, where they build Helm's Deep and things. I call it bigatures instead of miniatures. So they built a bigature of the Golden State Bridge, um, which is pretty cool. You know what I mean? And then the one scene that because I think you were about to mention something about the chase sequence that happens with the fire truck. That is pretty
Mhm.
cool. But the one thing I was like, oh, I did not like that. But I guess they couldn't really. What did I say? Golden State Bridge, Golden Gate Bridge. Anyway,
We didn't know what you meant.
yeah, yeah. The one thing I didn't like is when the bridge was opening up and the truck was supposed to jump over it, but they just like, yeah, we're not doing fucking that. So they basically just did like a quick cut to make it seem like the truck jumped and then landed. It's like, yeah, it was very clumsy, but I don't think they had the budget to try to pull that shit off. You know what I mean?
It's the thing of like, there's no way to make it look good.
Yeah.
Like, it's the bus jumping over the bridge and speed
Right.
is just
Right.
like completely unbelievable.
So
It would go about 5 feet and then go straight down 90 degrees.
exactly.
So I think they kind of did the best they could, where it's not so much like a flying leap as it's like a little tiny hop.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then also the final sequence in the cave. Uh, the story behind that was they were supposed to shoot that earlier, but the fucking 007 stage caught fire,
No,
and they had to rebuild it. It would take them, I believe, 8 weeks or something like that, to rebuild that. So while they were rebuilding that, they were shooting other scenes. Um, and then once it was fully built, that's when they named it the Albert Broccoli 007 stage. Because it was, I think it was just called 007 stage, but they added his name on
and they
top.
did shoot it there.
Yeah, they did. They shot that
Uh,
sequence there.
yeah, I
And
mean, because it's funny because a big complaint I have throughout most of the whole movie is that it's a little like Live and Let Die. It's got that syndrome of, maybe it's because that's in another American centric movie
right.
where none of the locales feel like exciting and exotic, and the sets are like crazy, that Ken Adams style. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just kind of like in a building, or like here's the Eiffel Tower,
Yeah.
which is cool. Like it's cool, it's the Eiffel Tower, but that underground cave, like that mining sequence, that whole place does look like the closest that the movie gets to being like, this is a James Bond set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like especially the room, like that's another one where I kind of looked to see if they had matte paintings, but the room with the bomb and all of those bags of explosives,
Right.
I'm like, wow, that looks really cool. Like that's just a
uh,
really striking image.
yeah. And then another thing that the director pointed out, which I thought was pretty funny, is that the scene where after Max just went ham on all of his goons, and poles went down, and the water is in the water is flooded out the cave, and sparks are going off when Grace Jones and Roger Moore were in the water. He didn't tell her like there's gonna be sparks, so she was just like all her screams and like, oh my god, that's her actually being scared that she's gonna be electrocuted to death, and she cursed
That's
him out.
that's really interesting, because like in that scene, like I saw how like scared she was, and
Yeah.
for a second I was like, is this like a black people can't swim thing? It's like
Yeah.
she's from Jamaica, not Chicago.
Yeah, right. Nah, it was the electricity. You know, she didn't know he was gonna do all of that, so she was like pissed off at him, called
And
him all types of names.
she's like holding on to Roger Moore's arm.
Yeah,
It's like it's like his most heroic moment in the movie. Like she's like really scared.
yeah. But then she went out as the badass that she is to save the day and take out the bomb. You know, she went out with it. Um, but Bond, you know, he gets around. You know, he he at least got a chance with Mayday, and of course in the beginning, the opening sequence, he had a chance with I don't know, I don't even know her name, whoever she is,
Yeah, with
random blonde.
British submarine babe,
Yeah,
Tanya Roberts, of course, Mayday,
um,
and the KGB lady.
right.
That's four. Is that all of them?
Yeah, four. Like, whoo! That's not a record though. He probably. I wonder which one. You can you tell which one had the record? I know it's not
Well,
any of the Daniel Craig movies because like that guy was
yeah.
celibate.
It's implied in On Her Majesty's Secret Service that he has sex with like literally everyone on the because there's like 13 of like like the women bombs with the
Yeah, yeah,
biological weapon,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and it's implied that he's had sex with most if not all of them in the time that they're in the lair together.
Right, right.
Peace
But
Gloria or whatever it's called.
as far as like confirmed kills, I don't know. I'm not interested. Like post coitus scenes where you can tell, oh yeah, something definitely happened here. Um, I don't know if this one
Yeah,
is the
it's definitely on
most.
the high end.
Yes,
Definitely on
yes,
the high end.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so you know, this movie is okay, right? It was,
Yeah, it's
you
okay.
know, yeah, it was not the best, and definitely Roger Moore made a great choice by saying, "Hi, yeah, it's time to pack it in, boys." You know.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't know any better, you'd think that he was brought on board after they started shooting because his stunt doubles are so obvious.
Yeah, right. Because like,
Especially watching, on Blu-ray on the big old TV, you're like, oh, that's
yeah,
definitely not Roger Moore. Sorry.
that's the curse of the HD era, man. There's even a scene where it was probably him, but because he's underwater, it just didn't look like him. Maybe it's not him, where he's underwater and he has to use the tire air from the tire to breathe. And just I'm like, wait, is that Roger Moore? Is that the stunt man? It just clearly is not Roger. I was like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, that one. I
That one
think that
stumped
one's
me.
actually him, but I couldn't. I wouldn't put money on it.
Right, right. So yeah, it's definitely the era where you can tell, you know, that was a stunt guy, that was a stunt double, and it doesn't look anything like Roger Moore.
Right. But
Um,
at the same time, it's also one of those things where you're like, at least it's a real guy. It's not a computer guy.
true, true, true.
Like there's a guy in that car when it gets ripped in half.
Yeah, and that it was a French stunt driver too that said he's like one of the top ones, and he designed the stunt that had the car jumping from the back of a truck onto the top of the bus, in front of the bus, and how they kind of practiced doing that. He saw different takes of them practicing doing that thing, and it was like, yeah, like they actually did that stunt for real. They had to have the bus moving at a certain speed because they wanted it to be moving, but they didn't want it to be staying still. So yeah, it was yeah, some of these stunts are really good though. Even though like I would say the physical fight stuff was not particularly well done, but those actual set pieces were well done. I'll
Yeah, I
give it
mean
to them.
jumping off the Eiffel Tower, leading up to that, like that's a real stunt.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, another story behind that too is because the main stunt coordinator who did the main stunt, he always has a backup, and he's worked on ever since that guy worked on Bond movies. He's always worked with him, but he just never got a chance to, as a backup, do the stunt because John was like, we got the take. We don't want to risk it anymore. We don't need to do it. So the guy was like super disappointed that he never got a chance to jump, and he said, "All right, tomorrow we can come here early and just do the stunt because I want to be, I can't pass up this chance." And early in the morning, little did he know that they were setting up for, I guess, Grace Jones's close up of her doing the jump. Um, so like while they're setting up, he did the whole jump, and they got in a lot of trouble, and they almost lost their uh, permits to shoot there, and they had to fire the guy, and that was the last Bond movie he worked on, and it was like, oh man,
Ooh.
it's gotta suck, man. But yeah. Yeah, some cool, like it's a cool movie, sexy, as always, as most James Bond movies are.
Yeah,
Um,
and like even though he's definitely too old and not really super into it, he's still
yeah,
good. Roger Moore's still good.
yeah, yeah,
He's just a ton of fun to watch. Um, he sells. He has. There's such an effortlessness to his performance that even when I'd say that as final, as too old for this shit kind of movies go, this is he is definitely better in this, and this is a overall better movie than say Diamonds Are Forever,
right, right.
where you can
Um,
almost see Sean Connery not wanting to be there.
it's funny, and because I like vaguely remember some of the episodes that we did. I remember you saying how you didn't like that movie, where that's considered one of the classic Bond movies. Uh,
Diamonds?
oh no, it's
I,
Goldfinger. But
yeah,
Diamonds
yeah.
Are Forever
Well,
is also,
I don't love that one either.
yeah.
No, I
I know
mean
you don't.
I respect it. I respect it more than I love it.
Right. Um, but isn't Diamonds also considered a classic? I mean, I don't know if the song is, but like,
It
isn't
was.
it?
I like the song more than the movie, just like with this one.
Right.
But Diamonds is was considered a course correction at the time
Right.
because On Her Majesty's Secret Service was not beloved when it came out, and it was the lowest grossing,
Yeah.
or if not the lowest grossing of all of them, definitely a step down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Even though it had a much bigger budget, but kind of as the decades have gone on and we've gotten less precious about Sean Connery being the alpha and omega, we've the royal we, the community,
Yeah.
whatever. Not that I believe in community, but but we've kind of warmed up to On Her Majesty's Secret Service
Yeah.
and appreciated it for what it is, and looked at Diamonds Are Forever and been like, yeah, Sean really doesn't want to be here. He's definitely doing this for the paycheck, which he donated to charity.
Right. Right. Yeah. Um. So, would you say Roger has the best last Bond movie out of the two? George, Sean and Roger.
Oh yeah. I mean, I actively despise Diamonds Are Forever, even though there's things in it that I like. There are things in it that I like. I mean, the worst the Bond movies are like sex. I'm still happy with the worst ones. Yeah. Uh, the worst sex I've ever had is still better than the best non-sex I've ever had.
True. True. True.
Um, the worst Bond movies are still better than you know content.
Yeah. God. Um.
But yeah, A View to a Kill is a fun one to throw on.
Right. Yeah. Very. Very good. Production. Okay. Story. Max. Sorry. Yeah. Max. Zorin. What do you think of him
Oh,
as a villain?
I mean, it's Christopher Walken. How Christopher Walken is a treasure to be
Yeah.
enjoyed in any of his performances. Um, what's he has a fun early line. He's like, my true passion is on the saddle or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, he's just one of those eminently watchable actors
Yeah.
where
Was
there's
that?
not like is this a good performance or a bad performance? It's like no, it doesn't matter. It's Christopher Walken doing Christopher Walken. Let him do his thing.
Yeah. Like, is this the first time he played a bad guy? Because
Ah,
when they were talking about casting him, they said Academy Award winner. I was like, wait, why he won an award before this? That means he was like
did he win for the
huge.
Deer Hunter?
Um, Let me see. Could be. Hold on.
I'm trying to think of like what his big huge movies were, and
Filmography. View to Kill. So before that, he had Dead Zone,
oh yeah,
Brainstorm.
yeah. Deer Hunter is what gave him the Oscar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh yeah. So he was in massive amounts of movies before this. So yeah, he was a
yeah.
star.
I mean,
He was a
yeah,
star.
yeah. It's fun. I've always wanted to interview him, and I hope I get to. He's 82. He's got a few years left. I mean, if he hears me say that, then he won't want me to interview him. But that's not important right now. But I've always wanted to talk to him about the episode of Naked City that he was on. Naked City was this pre Law and Order, 60s show based on like a movie from like the 40s or something, but it's
Mm,
all shot in New York City, and it's got a very filmic look that was so ahead of its time.
mm,
And it's just like old timey film noir set in like the old New York. Um, and it's so authentic, and you can see, and it's shot all over like the five boroughs. Really great show. But he was in an episode in like 1960 where he's like a 17-year-old kid,
oh.
and it's a great performance. And he looks like literally a baby,
Wow.
and it's a lot more subtle than like the Christopher Walken that we know now. You know.
Okay. Do you think like he's just playing into what the caricature of him when the more he plays? I mean, Severance. If you watch Severance, he's not really playing Christopher Walken. He actually,
I
I
don't I
think
don't
he's
watch Severance, but I
right.
think that he developed, kind of that not a lot of actors can do it and be taken seriously. And sometimes they're not on account of all the impressions that people do, but I compare him to like William Shatner,
Right.
where like he just has such a distinct cadence and theatrical style about him that goes beyond just acting and becomes kind of like his persona, his personality is like
Yeah.
just is he playing an over the top character? Like is he does he have that much gravitas in this role? It's like no, he just is that guy. He has that much gravitas just about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
lot, but in a very good way.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as his performance in A View to Kill, he doesn't have his Christopher Walkenness about him, but he does play like a he doesn't even play like a menacing bad guy. I think the most menacing he was when he was just basically going Scarface and all the guys. Like I think that was like the only time I felt like holy shit, this guy is a psycho. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a little more like the Joker than like a typical
Yeah.
Christopher Walken guy. Oh! Shout out! I don't know who the actor is who plays the old Nazi, but shout out to the very end, him grabbing a cartoon bundle of dynamite.
Oh yeah, I remember. Oh,
Or
and
just
also
like,
his monocle is like it was like. Imagine the actor had to put that thing in his eye, and he uses like his eye socket muscle to hold that thing in. Is like why?
monocles are very Nazis. Nazis have monocles. Baron von Strucker.
It's like what is it? Your one eye just can't see good out of that eye, so he was like, what was the purpose of that shit? It's like,
And it's an old timey thing. But yeah, shout out to that cartoon bundle of dynamite.
yeah,
It's just so random, even by the standards of this movie.
yeah, yeah. It was stupid.
And I guess my last thought on it was too bad those EMP, proof uh, microchips didn't take off because then it would have completely negated the plot of GoldenEye.
Oh, right, right. I mean, they're supposed to be. Yeah, I think at that point they're kind of supposed to be in the same universe
Yeah,
continuation.
they're still the same continuity, but
Yeah,
I guess there was some problem with the it's the same as the solar agitator from Man with the Golden Gun. It's like, oh, why isn't everything solar powered now?
yeah, yeah.
Because Bond can fight the bad guys, but he can't fight big oil or big tech.
um, yeah. There's. I would say there's certain things in this movie that while I was watching it, I like maybe I just missed certain key details. Like, okay, what was the dude, the oil tycoons? What was this purpose of that guy again? Maybe I missed it. Like, what was he?
I think it was basically just covering up the fact. Well, yeah, because Max was using the oil pipeline to pump seawater in to trigger his earthquake,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so and Tanya Roberts was the reporter trying to get to the bottom of that, and he was trying to buy her off by
Buy
her
her off.
silence.
Yeah. Um, what I did like, I like that chateau though. That the which in real life it's a hotel for horses. I guess the owner originally in real life wanted to be reborn as a horse when he dies, so he built this palace that he would somehow come back as a horse. Nut job, but the place looks amazing though. It reminded me like of an RPG, like one of those fantasy RPGs would be perfect to shoot like a scene there
The
where
Witcher.
yeah, something like that, or like something Final Fantasy esque. You know what I mean? Like a little bit of solar punk thrown in, or steampunk, and just like have that be like the big palace slash castle, and have like blimps above it and stuff like that. Kind of like steampunk style. But yeah, it just looked
Yeah, the
gorgeous.
Order 1886.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Looked
oh, we
gorgeous.
didn't mention his two buddies. We got Sir Godfrey Tibbet,
Ah,
um,
yes,
played
yes.
by Patrick McNee from The Avengers,
Avengers, yes.
which is
And
a nice nice nod,
also got
and
killed. I was like, oh
and gets
Jesus.
killed. And this is what's stupid. Gets killed, and by Mayday, who's hiding in the back of the car.
Uh-huh.
Fast forward to the second half of the movie. His buddy is the Asian CIA
CIA
guy,
agent. Yeah.
played by the guy from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Right. Wait. No, I don't think so.
His
Short round.
yeah. His no 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 no
Oh.
no.
Oh. Okay. I
Uh,
was like,
those movies were like the same year ish. No,
yeah.
his buddy, Indy's buddy from the beginning, who gets killed. Into the great
Oh.
beyond, I
Yes.
go
Yes. Yes.
first.
Yes. 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 I remember that.
Who also gets killed by Mayday sneaking in the back of his car.
Right.
And it's like she's like a serial killer, and these freaking secret agents don't know how to check the back of their goddamn cars.
Exactly. Oh man. But
But yeah,
yeah.
a weird movie, definitely worth a watch. Should definitely be seen as like a stopgap. We don't really know what to do with this franchise without Roger Moore, so we're keeping him on longer
Hmm.
than we're supposed to. Hopefully, we don't feel the same way about Avengers Doomsday next year, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
Me too. I'm curious the whole Robert Downey of it all. Like if he
Yeah,
can pull off a different performance as Victor Von Doom, as opposed to his Tony Stark, then I'm sold. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We'll
I
see.
mean, I guess bringing it back to the whole, it being Roger's last movie versus Diamonds Are Forever as Sean's last movie. Maybe it's because I'm just a Roger Moore guy. I mean, I'm a Sean Connery guy also, but in my heart of hearts, I'm a Roger guy.
Hmm.
Um, it's just nice to see him do his thing one last time. I would have liked if it had a sense of finality to it, but
Right.
especially back then they just didn't do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bond is forever. The guy's just in the shoes until he can't do it anymore or doesn't want to.
Yeah, and I think the sensibilities back then wasn't like, oh, let's do continuing stories. Even though, like, I would say, some of Sean Connery's movies had through lines to them, obviously, but
Yeah, the whole Spectre thing
but
definitely.
but like for the most part, they were just making adventure movies, and the way how Cubby Broccoli talks about approaching each of these movies is like everybody's asking, so when is the next Bond picture? When is this Bond? I guess we got to make another Bond picture. It's like, like they're like, all right, well, I guess let's make another one. Shit, if they want another one, you know what I mean? So it isn't necessarily how studios and who approach movies these days with franchise building and stuff like that. It's like, okay, this is the next entry in the next movie, and we got to think about 3 other movies ahead. It's like,
Yeah, and to an extent, like I think that's part of why these movies have held up so well.
yeah, yeah,
Like, you know, are we gonna look at any particular entry? Like, there's a handful of entries in like the MCU or the DC movies
mm-hmm.
that hold up and like become like their own kind of monoliths. But when you kind of have to look at them as part of a greater whole, they lose a little bit of their luster
Yeah,
individually.
mm-hmm.
Whereas every Bond movie feels like a diamond. Even the ones that do connect, like Moonraker and Spy Who Loved Me, and Jaws being in both. Like, there's definitely lines here and there.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and we've seen like YouTube video essays and stuff talking about the Daniel Craig era and how, and this is just my opinion, like kind of forcing them to be one story diminishes them a little bit.
yeah,
But at the
yeah,
same time, if you have at least a cursory knowledge of Bond, you can kind of jump into any of them. Um, and I'm someone who actually really, really liked No Time to Die, but we'll get to that in a few
yeah,
weeks.
yeah,
But you know, that definitely felt like a modern, the whole making everything connected. Hashtag it's all connected.
right.
Um, for better or worse, that puts a bow on on the Craig era. Like on the bad side, it kind of has to take everything that came before and be like, this was all one story all along, even though it clearly wasn't.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But on the good side, it gets to send off Craig's Bond with a bang, so to
Yeah.
speak.
So, you know, to wrap things up here, I guess, sort of touching on future Bonds, would you say A View to a Kill is not only is it Roger Moore's final Bond film, um, I'm trying to think of stuff that happens in the later Bond movies. Would you say A View to a Kill is the last era in which you had a sort of, I don't want to use the word comedic, but like sort of campiness to the Bond movies?
No, no, because there's plenty of. I think that when you watch even License to Kill, which is like the darkest one in the whole series,
Right.
but uh, but uh, Living Daylights and into the Pierce Brosnan era, there's a lot more humor in those than you remember.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Not just the over the topness
I mean, I know
of Die Another Day,
Yeah, I
notwithstanding.
know Die Another Day is considered sort of for at least Pierce Brosnan's run of Bond to be sort of the more
Too
over the
much. Yeah,
top.
the
Yeah.
straw that it's the straw that broke the camel's back. But like,
Yeah. But
I think
like,
the formula, quote unquote, is maintained all the way through the Brosnan era.
gotcha, gotcha. All right.
But maybe I'll think differently. Maybe we'll have more to say on that as the
Yeah.
weeks go by.
Because like I said, I was trying to think because I know Timothy Dalton's Bond is a lot edgier. He's pre Daniel Craig before Daniel Craig. At least I
Yeah,
think that
definitely
was
going
the
back to the literary
yeah.
version. Kind of taking its notes from that.
Um. So I don't know. Pierce kind of brought it back, like he's stuck in the middle between your Sean Connerys and your Roger Moores when it comes to sort of how he portrayed Bond. I think, at least in my opinion, that was like the perfect balance between the two.
I agree.
Being
I think he's the amalgam of everything that came before. All
yeah,
of the good parts, maybe some of the weaknesses, but because Bond contains multitudes, some people love the weaknesses.
yeah.
You know, it's
Um, so yeah, I was just approaching it as like maybe is this sort of the final, like you look at this movie and it's like it's corny as shit, but it's Bond, so whatever. And then from this point on, from the Living Daylights to No Time to Die, with the exception of Die Another Day, it's like them really taking Bond seriously, even though they would throw in a little bit of the one-liners here and there, but it's like we're making serious movies here, pal. You know what I mean?
nah, they're still corny. And A View to a Kill is like a lot darker and more serious than
True, true,
what came
true,
before.
true.
And even to an extent, we'll see when we reappraise the Living Daylights. But I'd say A View to a Kill is a darker, more violent movie than that.
Yeah. And then spoilers for Living Daylight. That's another song I do like from Aha. Is that the group?
Yep.
Yeah, I actually do like
Yeah,
that
I'm
song.
not as hot on it, but it's a fun song. I like the MTV era of
Yeah.
Bond songs.
All right, so that was it for our James Bond retrospective on A View to a Kill. And next week we should be diving into The Living Daylights, which is Timothy Dalton's first stint as James Bond.
First of many.
First of many was funny. But yeah, I'm excited to jump back into Bond, and excited to look at, because I think I've only seen the 11 Daylights maybe once. This box set I have, I think I only watched it once in my entire life.
Yeah, I'd say it's
Haven't
definitely it's
seen.
also my one of my least viewed.
Yeah.
So it'll feel kind of fresh going into it.
Because I know, like, I think people might have liked License to Kill more than Living Daylights, I believe, or something like that. I don't know. I'm not
Oh
sure.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Bond does Miami Vice. I mean, that's pushing my buttons.
All right.
But we'll
So
get there.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So where can people reach you and see your work? Zach?
And you can find me on at Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Instagram, at my name Zach Wojner,
And
and read me at TV Squad and Game Daily.
nice, nice. And as for me, I remember back in the days I used to be Marky Tundra on all the socials. Now it's just Mark Obridge. And you could find me on Instagram and TikTok. And Twitter, I don't really use Twitter. I just doom scroll on Twitter. So you don't really have to find me on Twitter. I don't really post stuff on that. But Instagram and TikTok. And of course, subscribe to the channel. And speaking of stuff that I've been up to in between the last time we did this, I've written two comic books. You have issues 1 and 2 of Mana Kingdoms. Well, Mana Kingdoms 2 is coming out soon, even though I have the prints, I can look at them. But officially, it's not out yet. Officially, only the first issue is out. I'll put a link in the description for you to purchase a copy of that. And I've also done um, not only like a bunch of short films. I also did like a television series, well, web series on Tubi called "I'm a Good Wife," and I just posted about a week ago my latest short film. Are you still watching? Also, I'll put in the description. So check those out, and hope you enjoy them. Um, so until next time, folks, I want to say peace.
Indeed.